have a shell quorum, so we're going to continue that.
He's not leaving, he's just going in.
Great. Number one, approve the current agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, number two, approve the meeting minutes from June 20th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the meeting minutes? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Number three, public comments. Chance for anybody in the public who has any comments they'd like to make that are not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to the today's meeting. Number one, EMA legal issues. The executive session, closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 21.5 sub C to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure is likely to prejudice or disadvantage the decision of the government body in litigation. You may like to make a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor of going into closed session say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we're back in the open session now. We'll move on to 1B, ratification of the 2015-2080 agreement, discussion action.
And I think the representative, are you the mayor?
I am
Your
the.
councilwoman, okay, I called you mayor, I wasn't trying to.
No,
The gentlewoman from Rose Hill, I think, had a question or two that I thought we should probably address in open session.
okay. So basically, Janet, you were asking, you wanted to kind of know who oversaw the 911 center and supervised prior to Janet and prior to that vote in 2015. And I believe I'm correct in saying that it was the 911 board, so the group that met prior to this meeting, that 911 board, and then they had the county attorney actually do the direct supervision. So that's who was supervising the 911 center at that time. And at that vote, then they voted to have that go under the emergency management, and Jamie took over at that time.
I basically replaced the county attorney as the administrator.
Okay.
Was there someone who was also in charge of the service board though at that time? An administrator or?
The director.
A director, yes, that's what I.
Of the service board or of the dispatch?
That was just
That was
dispatch,
dispatch.
okay, all right, I'm sorry.
How long was that the operating model that the county attorney supervised the?
Oh, you want to hear the whole story? No, you don't.
No, I just
think
didn't
it
know if that
was.
was a stopgap or that was. the
There's only one to say that I was doing it.
Yeah,
The sheriff and the police chief couldn't get along, so they put the
Wait a minute,
county.
let's clarify something.
Back then.
The sheriff at
yeah,
that
back
time.
then, they couldn't get along, so they put the county attorney in there to keep them from fighting. That's the story I did from Charles Strait.
Right, I was county attorney in Poweshiek at the time there. As you know from your 5th grade Iowa history, there are 99 counties in the state of Iowa. This was the only county where the county attorney was fulfilling that role.
Okay.
And probably the only county where the county attorney wanted to fill that role.
So then the question being that, was that agreement for him to be in that role or to turn it over, that comes into, that the 2080 is not valid, is that what, for that period of time? I'm trying to.
The time prior to, and please, those of you that are here that understand the history better, please chime in. We're talking about a period of time. I don't know when it was that Charles took over.
Actually, Charles was no longer the county attorney in 2015.
By that time, that's
Yeah,
correct.
we got another one, and he didn't want it.
Right.
I
then she didn't want
And
it.
then she didn't, and then she really didn't want it.
Yes.
I believe, if I'm correct, and Tom, you might remember, and anybody else will remember, I believe it's when the E911 Service Board was formed,
Okay.
per legislative outline. And the sheriff and the chief at the time, they just could not agree on anything. So to answer your question, I believe, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the county attorney was in charge of it until the 2015 2080 agreement. And then I do know that when Charles Stream left office, Amy Zehner did not want it anymore. She was newly elected county attorney. She did not want the responsibility anymore.
But you remember Charles came back in temporary.
Yes, that's correct.
Then Amy got hot, it was really, yeah.
And then Jim.
And then John Long came in after that, that's correct.
And he didn't want anything to do with it.
So if that agreement would be invalidated, then it would then go back under the county attorney again?
Well,
I believe
No.
that number is.
yeah, I think they would have to. I think it would be
That's
unlikely.
really what the issue
Yeah.
is that just the.
I think it would be very unlikely that it would go back under the county attorney for the reasons I talked about before. There was no other, and it's, God rest Charles Stream's soul. And I mean that. I think Charles and I were friends. There wasn't anybody else in the state of Iowa. If you'd have asked any other county attorney, you ever heard of this? They'd say, no, really haven't. So I don't believe it would go back. I don't think a county attorney would have anything to do with it. I'd be very surprised. And Mark, I imagine you would too.
It's up to you. If you look at ISAC stuff, there's auditors that do it, there's
Yeah.
treasurers that do it, I mean, everybody in different offices do it. Sheriffs do it, I mean, that's common.
Okay, so then that decision of who would be the administrator then would be redefined. Is that-
I think that's what the
By the 911 board.
Okay. Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
So I'm voting for this, is this rescinding the 1990 2080, the 1988 2080?
Well, I think what has to happen here is that, and I said in closed session, that people need to read this as to see exactly what it says. Basically, it's a resolution ratifying and affirming the 2015-28 E agreement with Mahaska County E911 Board. So I don't know, I mean, so your question is it,
Where's the 1990 or 1988 2080 at and all this stuff?
well, it's in 1988 and 1991.
I understand it, but all the counties and the city signed it. They're still in operation up to October 2015. Has any city rescinded that 2080?
Well, again, the 2015, what the commission is being asked tonight is to ratify and affirm the agreement that was passed in 2015. So I'm not sure I can answer your question, to be honest with you. But I think, and obviously that's for the court to decide whether that 2080 agreement in 2015 is valid or not.
But where does that 1988, where's the original 911 2080 fit into this 2080?
Well, I think this 28E agreement, basically because of the changes in the law and what the desire of the E911 Board of the Commission was to ratify this agreement in 2015 for purposes of having the structure that we have today.
So the service board superseded that other 2080?
I think that's probably for the court to decide.
I'll go ahead and do like I did in the previous meeting. I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution to you folks. Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency, resolution number 19-08-01. Resolution ratifying and affirming the 2015-28E agreement with Mahaska County E911 Board. Whereas in 2015, the Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency entered into a 2080 agreement with Mahaska County E911 Service Board, which is attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. And whereas the Mahaska County Board of Supervisors claimed the Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency did not properly approve the 2015-28E agreement when it was originally approved on October 15th of 2015. And whereas the Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency wishes to remedy any perceived deficiencies in the approval of the 2015-28E agreement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency that the 2015-28E agreement with the Mahaska County E911 Service Board is hereby approved, ratified, and affirmed. This resolution shall be effective immediately upon approval by the Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency and execution by the chair. And the signed Mahaska County Emergency Management Agency.
It probably should be duly noted that the DP on was from
what?
The DP on was from Mark.
No, it's from me.
Oh, it was from you? Oh, it was from Tom, okay.
Mike,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying to make this work.
I got you, all right, Tom, I'm sorry. It wasn't Mark.
I
Then
said-
Mark seconded your
I
yawn.
said it's been
Is
so
that right?
long.
I was getting ready to ask what a DPON is.
Yawn. I'm sorry, it was Tom seconded by me.
That's okay, Mike.
I was just trying to make it with him.
Yeah.
All right, excuse me.
Discussion on the resolution. If there's no discussion, would anybody like to make a motion?
Make motion to approve resolution 190801.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
I just want to clarify, so we're voting on this to clarify the 2015-20D, but we're not sure where this fits into the 1990 20D for the 911 Service Board.
I think that's going to be in the details that the judge will look at. So that's not for us to say. That's something that the judge will look at and decide.
I just think it's interesting, we're voting on something, but we don't even know where we're at with the original 2080. That's my only thought.
Well,
We have a vote and a second, right?
Right, we're in the discussion stage. Any other discussion?
Doesn't 12080 supersede the other 2080 because it's a contract between governmental agencies?
yeah, that's part of what the argument is. But again, to go back, I'm repeating myself, I know, but you're basically affirming the October 2015
Correct.
2080 agreement. That's correct, George.
But to question, in my mind, what year was that? 88, 91? It goes away if we reaffirm the 2015 one tonight, correct? Because isn't 2015 take away and squash?
What you're operating under now is the 2015-2080 agreement. You are affirming and ratifying that once again. That's correct, George, yes.
Those of
But
us
it didn't answer
that,
his question, though. He's thinking the 2015-2080 canceled out in 1998. The original 2080 that established the service board. He's saying that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to say the
It should cancel it
2015-2080
out.
canceled out.
It should cancel it out, right?
Well, yeah, this is the agreement, you're affirming the agreement that you are operating under at the present time. That's exactly, I mean, that's what you're doing, George.
But did this agreement cancel out the original 2080, original service board 2080? That's the question.
Well,
Well, where is,
I think the
where is
answer,
1990?
I think the answer is
2080 agreement?
that this resolution
It's filed with the state.
is for purposes of
Do you have it?
2015-2080.
Yeah, in the office. I brought it to the 911 board.
And that's a lot different than the 2015?
Correct.
My understanding, and I mentioned this in the 911 meeting earlier, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, and again, Mike, you correct me if I'm wrong. When we vote on this, if we approve it, we're saying we agree with the 2015 EMA board's decision to approve it.
Right.
Is that?
Yes,
Very simplified.
and that what you are operating under at the present time, you want to continue operating under. Yeah, you're already operating under, but you're ratifying and affirming, yes.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to ratify Resolution 190801. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We'll move on to item number 2, bill approval, discussion, and action.
In your packets, the Raycom bill for our maintenance agreement on our radio system. This was approved by the 911 board budget for 2019-2020. And I will start including that on all the agendas so that you know the 911 board has approved. That's approved in the budget. I just need the okay for the chairman to sign the claim.
Make a motion to approve the Raycom claim.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, one time you vote, the next time you abstain.
Well, one time we're good on EMA stuff, next time on 911 stuff.
I'm confused.
After meeting is
You, Mr. Happy knows what I'm doing.
I'll give you guys a few minutes to review the claims. And for those of you who don't remember, any bill over $2,000 has to come before the board. Those that are under $2,000 come across my desk.
And he quizzes me on thoroughly.
What are you doing with the karaoke wireless Bluetooth amplifier? Are you
That-
singing?
No, that's in here to run these speakers here through the,
It's gotta happen.
what are you doing after the meeting? Yes, and that was reimbursed, so paid for that, and we have donations, so that's under the reimbursement line. That was a huge, huge show at the county fair. Lots of good things about that.
I move to pay the bills if we got any money.
We don't need a motion on that, Tom. Does anybody have any questions for Jamie, other than the karaoke question? About the claims review?
I'll make a motion then to approve the claim.
No, we don't need one.
We don't
on the
need one,
claims.
okay.
So, we'll go on to number 3, next meeting. Is everybody still happy with doodle polls to set up the next meeting? Is there anybody opposed to that would rather Jamie called you directly?
And one last thing, I'll do it. Meeting.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Look, $11,000 bill. That's already been approved.
We have, thank you, resolution meeting.
I move it.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thanks for coming.
Basically,
Yeah, well.
same strategy.